We're on Keilim Perek Chet Mishnah Tet, 9th Mishnah on the 28th chapter, Mesachet Keilim. Keset Sabalim. Keset is like a pillow or a kind of like a cloth. Sabalim are porters. So Bartanura says, Hanosim Masaot al Ktefam or al Rosham. They carry burdens on their shoulders or on their head. Yeshem Keset Katan B'Rosham. They have this like covering on their head or B'Ktefam on their shoulders. Shelo Yazik Lehem Lamasoi, so that the burden doesn't hurt them. Sometimes they sit on it. So the Mishnah says to Me'am Midras. Look at Rab Posen for a second. The Keset, it's this thing that they would put in order to serve as a cushion for their shoulder, for their head, and then you, of course, use it as a seat cushion. So it's Tamei Midras because it's cloth and you use it to sit on it, so therefore it's Makabel Tumah. Meshameret Shel Yayin, that's a wine strainer. Ein ba mishum moshav. Nobody would sit on it, probably because it's staining you or whatever. Ein yoshim alem mipnei hashmarim. Right, it was dirty, so nobody would sit on it. So it was a piece of cloth. Let's look at that posing again. Right, it was a piece of cloth that they would use and they would strain out their water. Remember, they probably would carry this around. We think everything we have, like if you always have like clean wine with you, but their wine jugs were full of sediment. So before you drank anything, and probably bugs too, to be honest, so before you drank anything, you had to strain it. So they probably carried these straining cloths with them wherever they went. So nonetheless, ein ba mishum moshav, you wouldn't sit on it. Svacha shel zikena. Svacha, let's look at the jastro for a second. Svacha, it's a hairnet, an embroidered hairnet. And we even have a bonus, I think. Okay, the old woman's network, any network or a mat, some kind of mat netting something. So the Mishnah says to me, Amishum Moshav. Obviously, the old ladies would sit on it, and that's why it's Tamei Moshav. The Martinur says, hey, we learned it before in an earlier chapter. You might remember that there was some kind of networky, netty, whatever that was Tamei Meit. That implied that it was Tamei Meit, but not Tamei Moshav. So the old ladies had two kinds of hair nets. One they would sit on, and one they wouldn't sit on. We really have no idea. Like today, I guess you would say, oh, they had an iPhone and an Android. Well, I don't know what, like in 100 years, 1,000 years, they're going to know what that is. They'll probably be able to look it up, but who knows? Okay. Chaluk shel yotzeit hachutz. The cloth, the chaluk, the garment of yotzeit hachutz. Asui kisvacha, and it's made like a netting. Tahor. That's tahor. What is the yotzeit hachutz? As a Bartanura, tagum zona nafkat bira. Zona is a prostitute. Yotzeit hachutz nafkat bira. She goes out. It's made like netting. She's wearing promiscuous clothes. She's wearing see-through clothing so that people will see her. Okay, so that clothing is tahor because it's made kisvacha. It's made like a net. Tahor. That's not clothing. It doesn't have a din of beged. So Rabbanim could learn what they want about the idea of clothing that's not sanua that you can see through. Do they have a din of clothing or not? How said beged min hacherem tahor umizuto tamei. So cherem is netting. Mina reshet. It's a fish netting. Ubisaro nireh, and you can see inside of it. Lefikach tahor. Umizuto. What is zuto? The bottom. Yesh b'tachtita reshet. The bottom. Ma'at arig asui kebegin. So let's look at Rab Posen for a second. So you have this fish net, literally not fish netting, fish net. So if you make a beged from fish net, like fish net stockings, that's not a beged. But if you make a beged from the zuto, from the bottom, from the cloth at the bottom, that is a beged, and that is mekabel tumah. Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov says, Afa oseh beged min hacherem ukfalo. If you make it from the fish netting, but then you doubled it over, so that it becomes like a cloth, then tameh, because that's considered a beged. We'll stop here, dedicate our learning to memory of my father, Rav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Make it a great day.